Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So today I figured I would take a look at other YouTubers' videos and try to judge how good their renders and video quality were. The idea being that it could be useful for many of you who are getting started on YouTube to look at other people's mistakes and to learn from them. And obviously this is all for entertainment and educational purposes, so keep in mind that I'm not trying to roast any YouTubers' videos. And I actually think that everybody on this list and in this video is obviously very talented, probably more than me. Anyways, that being said, let's get into the video. Well, alright, first on the list is Technoblade because he's gonna get me the most he's really popular, and let's just look at the video. So, Technoblade is the typical case of someone who just uses the most conventional recording settings. He doesn't do anything fancy with high frame rates. He just has his game looking as good as it can, and he records in 60 FPS and in really high quality. And then because YouTube loves him, as you can see, he gets the good codec. He doesn't actually have the good codec. I'm impressed. It's supposed to be VP9, but apparently YouTube hates Technoblade. But either way, you can tell that he just has a sharp image and not much to it. But as you're gonna see from the other YouTubers, there's a lot more you can do. Like, obviously this is completely fine. If your videos look like this, then it's great. It's simple, it's family friendly, it doesn't offend anyone, but you can do a lot better. So if I had to rate it, I would say a solid 7 out of 10. Now we're gonna look at my boy Purple now, and you know, not every YouTuber in this video can have the best renders. I mean, they're not like extremely offensive, but they have something that really annoys me. You'll note here that everything looks orange. It looks so orange, and like the chest has had a freaking facelift. They've gone to Beverly Hills and gotten face surgery, or they're like buried in 5 inches of foundation. You know, those women you see on TV? Kind of getting sidetracked. But either way, Purple likes to use these really weird shaders that Sammy Green uses as well. And you'll just notice that everything looks really green and honestly really blurry. You should never use internal shaders or Silder's shaders or whatever they're called. They do not make your game look better, but they do make your game run a lot worse, which means that you can't do any fancy high FPS recordings. And honestly, you can get the same effect. Like if I have this clip here, I just recorded myself looking at a map. If you want the internal shader experience, you can just, if you're using Premiere, you can just do some color correction. So I'm gonna go here, basic correction, saturation, up the saturation a little bit. See, it's already, you know, looking more saturated. And you can do a lot more, like shadow tint. Let's make it orange. Let's even more orange. Curves. Oh, let's do the curves. Hue, whatever. Everything should be orange. There we go. There you go. This is the internal shaders experience, and it also looks like you're part of a drug cartel in Mexico. But you know, if that's what you're into, then you know, this is how you get it. But you should never do it in game. If you want your colors to pop out, then do some color correction afterwards. Don't use these shaders; they're horrible. And also, like, record in a decent quality. And he also doesn't have a border around his face cam. Like, come on, you have like probably make more money in a day than I make in a lifetime, something like that, and you can't afford a border. Like, just make a square in MS Paint or something. Whatever, no hate to Purple, his videos just suck in terms of quality. Welcome guys to me looking at Sackboy Clank's render settings, and I'm gonna be upfront with you. I think Sackboy has the best render settings of the entire Minecraft community. In fact, these are the renders that inspired me to strive for perfection with my videos, or at least try and improve them considerably. It's why I try to optimize my game, try to record in higher frame rates. The settings I used are almost exclusively due to his work and mostly to the work of the community. There are some servers, especially Hone, that that are a great source of information if you're trying to find render settings. But just looking at the video, you can tell that it's buffering. It's so good that my computer can't handle it. It's just in awe of the smoothness, and you can see the smoothness is surreal, and the image is never too blurry. It's always sharp. It's always clear, and you'll notice that the colors are also really vibrant, and not because he used some disgusting shader, but because he did some color correction. Now, if you use OBS, you might notice that whenever you record, the colors look a little bit bland whenever you look at the recording compared to how they looked when you were playing. That's just due to the encoding process, but you can make up for it with some color correction in post, and that's exactly what he does, which is why his sky looks so blue and the red looks really vibrant, so does the green. Another thing is that he knows how to upscale. Like, he upscales to 4K and he uses FFmpeg. It doesn't say there, but I know that he does. And what this does is that it makes the image a lot sharper because YouTube compresses it less. Besides giving it the better codec automatically, like there's no way you're gonna get the crappy codec if you upscale your videos. By using FFmpeg instead of your recording program, then the quality is going to be preserved a lot more, because generally Premiere, Vegas, whatever, they upscale and they blur the pixels together, and that's really not what you want. Bravo to Sackboy Clank for having the best renders. Too bad he's a fascist in real life, but you know, you can't have everything. Now we have Specular, the joint channel between a potato and a burrito, and that sounds like the setup for a really lame punchline, but whatever. This guy has some decent renders. Like, if you look at his videos, they look very smooth, but they have one big problem, which you can see here. His particles, they look so messy. And like, the problem with this is that it might seem satisfying when you're playing, but I'm pretty sure he does something that he shouldn't. Like, if I show you my OBS and go to output and recording, you don't have to understand anything about OBS, but I use CQP, and this means that the image is always at the same quality, but I'm pretty sure, just judging from his video quality, that he uses some constant bitrate. So instead of the quality of the image being constant, the bitrate is constant. And what happens is that every time there's a lot of artifacts on the screen, a lot of clutter, the encoder is going to have to sacrifice the image quality because it only has a limited bitrate to deal with. Also, he doesn't upscale properly. I mentioned when looking at Sackboy's renders that he knew how to upscale, but he does not know how to upscale. He uses, you can see, because it's 1440p, and I'm pretty sure he says in the description he upscales, exports in 60 FPS 4K, which isn't even accurate because this is 1440p. You should never do it with Premiere. You should always export in 1080p and then upscale afterwards, and he just doesn't do that, and it just makes his videos look really blurry. And also, like, he has specs. He has the kind of specs you would expect from the son of a hedge fund manager or something. Like, he isn't he like 15 and he has an insane computer, a 9900K and RTX 27. Come on, dude, you could cure poverty in Africa with the amount of money you spent on this computer, and you're getting 700 FPS in the cage. I get more than this, and I play on a laptop 300 FPS. He should really optimize his game. And also, final nitpick, you should never use in-game motion blur. It's just because the in-game motion blur does not look very good, and here you can see the particles messing up his image quality again. But you should never use in-game motion blur. Sure, it might seem a little bit nicer when you're playing, but there's no substitute for recording it in actual high frame rates, and in-game motion blur is just going to make everything look blurry in a not good way. Blurry as in not sharp, not clear, as in mushy. That's never what you want. Which isn't to say that his renders are necessarily bad. He's like got a lot of things right. He recorded in high frame rates. His game overall looks pretty nice. Clean setup. And he does know that he should upscale his videos, but they're just not as good as they could be. Alright, so now we're going to be looking at Chazm. Chazm, my boy. Chazm is a really nice guy. He seems like a wonderful person, very positive in his videos, overall a nice vibe, but my guy, what the heck is this black bar? What is this? I don't get it, like, why is there a black bar here? It does not look good. Like, I would understand it if it was like half of this over here and the other half would be over there, would give it that cinematic look, but this ain't it, Chief. This is not what you want in your videos. And what's more, like, if you'll notice that he has this 5-zig mod in the corner and it just looks like a math equation. It doesn't add anything to the overall video. Like, why would he need to know that the 5-zig mod version he has is 3.1.1.6 or 5, I can't even see because it's so small. Why would he need to know his ping when it doesn't even work? His CPS, I can understand that. And his coordinates, he's playing Bed Wars. Just say colors. I'm at blue, I'm at green. You don't need to recite a goddamn list of numbers every time you want to communicate with your teammate. This is all useless. You should use an actual client like Lunar. You shouldn't have this clutter. This is Bed Wars. You don't need to know your armor. You can just look at this and just have different profiles for different games if you like to play Skywars or something. And the other thing is, he doesn't upscale, or he plays on 1440p. That's actually acceptable. If you play at this resolution, then you should probably not upscale. There isn't barely any advantage to upscaling if you play at 1440p. But he doesn't record in high frame rates. And, you know, usually I would let it slide, but you can see here he has some pretty decent FPS, and he would easily be able to record in 240 or even 300 if he optimized this game properly. And it would add so much to his videos, because you can tell he's going for a like relaxing, friendly vibe, smooth gameplay, pleasant conversations he's having with the game man 80. 240 FPS would add so much to that, because you need to keep in mind, like, your renders are never what people are gonna sit down for. Like, if you have insane renders, but you're insulting your viewers every 5 seconds, and you have the personality of a dying dog, and I don't know, you suck at the game, you're playing on a trackpad with your elbow or something, like, your renders are not going to do anything for you. That they're not gonna make people watch your videos. But if you have good content, if you're good like Chazm, if you have an interesting personality like Chazm, who's great at the piano, he's a legend, then your renders just complement. They just make the video an overall nicer experience. And I feel like it would gain so much from just having smoother renders, 240 FPS. So you should really keep that in mind in your videos. The type of settings you choose should complement your playstyle. It has come to my senses that I started off this video by giving out ratings, but I kind of stopped doing that. But whatever, it doesn't really matter what number I put on it. What matters is the constructive criticism I have in order to benefit the members of this community, and especially you, who are also the members of the community. I can speak. Anyways, this is Cheetahhh. He's a cool guy, and we're gonna be roasting his renders. Nice scream, buddy. So as you can see, high octane content right here, but the problem is, he records in 120 FPS. Now you might be thinking, but Xenovox, didn't you say that recording in high frame rates was the be-all end-all of disease and suffering on Earth? That it would solve humanity's problems? Well, not quite, because remember me saying that Technoblade's renders were very much decent and acceptable? That's because 60 FPS is not a bad frame rate to record at. It just looks sharp. If you want to go for something more, then you can create some motion blur by recording in high frame rates. And the way that works is that if you record in, say, 300, then the editing program is going to take every 5 frames and combine them into one. And 5 is a large number. You know, it's my IQ, and I'm pretty smart. But if you're looking at 2 blur frames, it doesn't create any blur. It's just every single frame is slightly less sharp. And you combine that with videos that aren't upscaled, so they're just in 1080p, which you should never do. Cheetahh gets the good codec, but even so, YouTube takes a lot from his videos, you know, keeps it to itself. And so his videos end up looking pretty blurry, and you should never, like, look at this. You can't make anything out. This isn't a nice blurred image. It's an undefined image. It's just a complete mush of pixels. I think this is a shame, because I quite enjoy watching Cheetahh. I think his normal clicking technique is indeed very sexy. It's quite a shame that his renders are not as good as his lungs, let me tell you that much. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you want me to take a look at any other YouTubers' videos and roast them or constructively criticize them, then make sure to drop a comment down below. And if you'd like me to make any other videos about the video making process, then also let me know. I hope you enjoyed.